So President Trump has told governors to call their own shots when it comes to reopening the economy. What are mayors doing in here as well? I want to bring in Sam Liccardo. He is San Jose, California's mayor, right in the heart of Silicon Valley, of course. And Mayor Liccardo, you've launched the Silicon Valley Economic Recovery and Resilience Council. You've got some big names on there, including Chuck Robbins of Cisco. What are you thinking right now in terms of the timeline? What can you share with us?
Well, it's really going to be dictated, we know, by the public health authorities and what they can tell us about when we can reopen. But there's a lot we can do in the meantime. Obviously, as a city, we can do all the things we need to do to get out of the way, which is clearing backlogs on inspections and permits and things like that, all the nuts and bolts. But really what this Recovery Council is about is listening to those leading voices in the economy. Lisa Su, the CEO of Advanced Micro Devices, Chuck Robbins, you mentioned, many others, who can really tell us what they need as a region to be able to reinvent themselves, as Silicon Valley does so well, and get people back to work quickly again.
Mayor, you talk about the economic priorities, but of course the science, as you point out, is really what takes precedent in all of this. You look at that 6-point plan that Governor Newsom laid out. At the very top is about the ability to test and then do contract tracing. So based on what you have right now within San Jose, within Santa Clara County, how many weeks or months are we out from being able to test on a very wide scale?
Yeah, that's a critically important question that we don't have a good answer to. And it's something, as a mayor, we don't have control over the public health authorities. We certainly are engaging with them on a routine basis. And we are urging them to give us a target, give us a goal, because we know that we're not there now. We're going to have to scale dramatically. And it's going to take a cross-sector approach, a lot of private sector partners, obviously, and the government pushing together. And we know that if you give Silicon Valley a goal and a deadline, we'll reach it. Just give us a goal. And so really, I published an op-ed in the Chronicle that will run tomorrow saying just that. I look forward to seeing how we can set those goals around contact tracing, around testing, around isolation, because I'm confident we can get there if we have the goal.
One of the big tech companies that's right in your backyard, of course, Facebook, made some headlines last week when Mark Zuckerberg came out and said that he doesn't think that there will be any events with more than 50 people until 2021. Essentially, he said his company has canceled those events. Does that sound like a realistic timeline to you? No sporting events, no events with more than 50 people until 2021?
Well, I know that too well because they canceled 2 of their global conferences headquartered right in my city. So I think that is not unrealistic. I'll say that. I'm certainly telling folks who are promoting events in the summer and the fall, hey, I wouldn't invest any money in those right now. We could be in for the long haul on those kinds of events. Obviously, other businesses will be opening, but expecting the ability to pull large numbers of people together, not realistic.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, let me ask you about the divide in Silicon Valley and the thinking that this coronavirus is actually exacerbating the income and wealth gap. What's your take on that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It didn't create the gap, but it certainly has exposed it. And, we've been working on, for example, the digital divide for a couple of years now, trying to see how we can get connectivity and devices in the hands of many of our residents, about 95,000 of whom are not connected to the internet today. Now that schools are not in session, we're seeing how impactful that divide is. Thousands of children are not learning. And we know that's just going to be a huge hindrance to their educational destiny as well as their economic destiny. So we've got a lot of work to do here in the Valley, and we suspect we're not alone.
Mayor, the testing problem and the supply chain hiccups, this is a coordination effort between the private sector, state government, local government, and federal government. What could the federal government be doing to make this go better?
Well, I think you've probably heard from an awful lot of local and state officials. We would love to see the federal government play a more robust role. We'd love to see the government really utilizing the laws available since the Korean War to really commandeer our manufacturing processes in ways that can really, if not create strong carrots, even some sticks, to really dramatically boost our testing capacity. I'm not looking for government intervention in a lot of parts of this economy, but I think we all recognize our testing isn't there. And it's going to take a strong federal effort to get it there. And it shouldn't be up to mayors really trying to figure out who their contacts are in South Korea or Taiwan. to get a few thousand tests. We need a national coordinated effort.
And speaking of federal help, I heard you talk over the weekend about more help that's needed from the federal government to tackle homelessness, which of course was a big problem in California even before the coronavirus. I know you've already secured some hotels and motels, but how much worse do you think this problem is going to get on the other end of all of this, given the job losses, the rent deferments, all the things that we've seen play out in the last month? How much more homeless people are you going to have, you think, in your county?
Well, it's something that an awful lot of us are very concerned about, and I don't think we have a very good handle on. We were the first city in the country to call for an eviction moratorium to see at least if we could hold on to families and keep them in place as long as possible until we can find a path forward for ultimately what's going to be a lot of workouts of back rent for apartment owners and tenants throughout the country. It would be really incredible to see the federal government step up. We know there's going to need to be some intervention, probably to support the financial sector in the next round of legislation. If banks are going to get relief, we'd love to see them pay it forward so that there could be foreclosure relief and ultimately that paid forward to tenants as well. I think there's no reason why the federal government could not play a leading role in helping to support an economy that keeps people housed.
Mayor Sam Liccardo of San Jose, California, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about what you're doing in your city.
Thanks, Jen.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.